morning, everyone, and welcome to Philo for Thought's first 2021 symposium. I'd like to wish everybody a happy new year, and I'd like to dedicate today's seminar to one of our strategic partners, Lorendi Roos, who's celebrating her birthday today. Happy birthday, and many more. All right, and next I'm going to introduce our two amazing moderators, Alexandria Leotopoulos and Andi Rustani. Guys, take it away.
Good morning, everyone. Like Chris said, my name is Alexandria Leotopoulos, and I am Programming Director at Philo for Thought, as well as the President of the Ikaros Hellenic Orthodox Club at Queens College. Presenting with me today is our Internship Director and Medical Assistant at Lexington Medical Associates, Andi Rustani. Welcome back, Andi.
Thank you, Alex. I can't believe we've been hosting these seminars for the past 6 months. Over the last 6 months, we've covered a variety of topics ranging from networking to branding and to overcoming big transitions brought on by COVID-19. As the world continues to change, as COVID continues to linger in our lives, we're grateful to be able to help our young professionals be successful despite these trying times. With us over the last 6 months, we've had the pleasure of welcoming and learning from exceptional speakers and what their companies do to help the young professional community.
We will start by giving a brief overview of what we offer at Philo for Thought, and if anyone has any questions regarding our programs, please write them in the chat so that our CEO, Chris Alboudis, can answer them later on. Then I will introduce our guests from various groups that we also work with in order to promote success amongst young professionals. So Philo for Thought offers many services to young professionals striving to be successful in their personal and professional lives. Our SNAP Student Network Advocacy Program consists of experienced faculty advisors and advocates from a variety of fields such as HR, counseling, branding, PR, business, law, management, engineering, and of course the sciences. They are all available to help guide you along the next steps you wish to take on your professional path as well as your personal path. Our assessments and evaluations page, which I will link in the chat, offers a variety of assessments such as the Enneagram and DISC tests, both free and some at a cost. This page also highlights some courses and assessments offered by our strategic partners, Roos Advisors and New Skills Academy, who are also with us today and will give more insight into their programs later on. Our monthly professional development seminars have allowed us to connect with experts from a variety of industries and fields to put together panel events and presentations on topics spanning from how to overcome the physical, emotional, and mental effects of COVID to how to brand and network during a global pandemic and everything in between. These monthly seminars, as well as other instructional videos, can be found on our YouTube channel, which I will also link in the chat.
Our Spring Symposium is our big annual event that features exceptional professionals in specific industries that all complement the overall theme of the symposium that year. These events allow young professionals to gain insight from experts in many career fields while also exercising their networking skills. This year's symposium theme is Leadership in Society and will feature 3 panels with speakers from all different industries sharing their insight to the prepared panel questions. It is also at our annual symposium where we present our yearly scholarships to graduating high school seniors. For more information on how to nominate someone for a scholarship, you can email p4tinfo@gmail.com. Through our annual membership programs, you can have access to mentoring, our seminars and events, as well as entry and discounts to programs offered by our affiliated groups. Philo for Thought Inc. strives to help young professionals have prosperous futures, but we don't act alone. We also offer fall and spring internships, which I will share with you. We offer internships in a variety of specializations, including business, tech, marketing, research, and more. All internships are offered to students for school credit. For more details about our internship programs and how to apply, visit the link that we'll share in the chat.
Our strategic partners from Roos Advisors, Your Instructional Design, JMK Training, Drafts Consulting, New Skills Academy, and Flex Jobs help us excel in our mission through their continued support and collaboration in our online services. They offer a variety of resources which will be highlighted in their individual speeches later on. We'll also be introducing our new affiliate resources at Mission Control Productivity and WorkWise. We want to thank all our speakers for being with us today, and we look forward to hearing more about the goals and purposes of each of their organizations. As we move through each speaker's individual presentations, we ask that you post your questions in the chat, and we will address them in the Q&A segment later on.
To tell us about what professional evaluations and leadership training are available is Bruce Boucher from Roos Advisors. Hi, Bruce.
Good morning. How are you? I bring you greetings from the West. Grateful to be with you and send my love to each of you. And it's so nice to have a chance to chat. This morning, I want to just represent to you our organization, Roos Advisors, which is at roosadvisors.com. And we specialize actually in 3 specific areas. One is consulting. We do a lot of business and human resources consulting. The second one is coaching. And the third is we have a recruiting and retention arm that's designed to help organizations find talent. And even in a pandemic, I would just tell you that talent matters. In fact, perhaps more so than ever, talent matters. And it's becoming an interesting dilemma in the workforce as to where to find it and how to find it. And I'm talking to a large group of extremely talented people this morning. And so it's nice to be with you, and it's nice to represent Roos. One of the tools that we use that was mentioned in the introduction is DISC assessment, and I want to just dig a little deeper on that. But first, I want to give you maybe some perspective, if I can. I'm not only a partner and the president of Roos Advisors. I'm also a professor of human resources at the John M. Huntsman School of Business at Utah State University, which is one of the top 5 human resources programs in the country. And one of the things that I think is really, really important is to recognize how much you have to bring to any given opportunity or any challenge like this pandemic. We know that more and more people are working from home. We know that more and more of them have become, and maybe you fit into this, what I would call a Zoom zombie, where you attend Zoom meetings, but it's just really hard between classes and other things to pay attention and to really have the messages resonate with you. And in many cases, professors like me may even put you to sleep. I hope not, but it is challenging. And in that instance, you're in a very unique situation. And I want to just proffer one thing to you and then talk about DISC. There's a great story about a woman who really desires to stop smoking. And in fact, she gets married and her husband says, look, I think you're Mary Poppins. You're practically perfect in every way, but this smoking thing is really bothering me because you know it's bad for you. And the wife acknowledges the feedback, even though she takes it a little personally. And she says, yeah, I know, I got to do something. And so for a period of a couple months, she tries to stop smoking on her own. And she can't stop. And so they go to the doctor. The doctor says, yeah, you really need to stop. Let's get you a patch. And she gets the patch. And after a period of a couple of weeks, she still can't stop. Months, she can't stop. And it's a difficult habit, as some of you may know. And so she's at her wit's end. He's at her wit's end. It's affecting their relationship. And then she hears 3 words that push her over the top and effectively make her stop in a second's notice. And the guess, if I were to teach a seminar, or I taught this to a bunch of folks in Mexico recently, and the number one answer that they said were the 3 words were, I love you, right? That's not the answer. People also guess these 3 words, which are really 4 words, but they think they're 3 words. You're gonna die, right? That's not it either. The 3 words that changed this woman's habit and changed her life were, you are pregnant. When she found out that she was expecting their first child, she took all of her cigarettes and threw them away and didn't smoke again. Where did she get that strength? When she couldn't find it outside, where did she get it? Well, she got it in here. It was always there. And the message that I would leave with you today is deep change, adjustment, recognizing where you are and where you want to be starts at the individual level. It starts with you. As we talk about what needs to happen in our country and the behaviors that we need to have around the pandemic, and politically where we are and the amount of acrimony that we have, want to affect change, we have to change ourselves first. It has to start with us. So why is a tool like DISC so important? Because DISC helps us understand our behavior. It helps us understand how we are going to behave. And it helps us understand how to relate our behaviors to other people's behaviors, so that we can understand, look, Chris and I may say something completely different, but we mean exactly the same thing. Well, why are we saying it differently? Because our DISC profiles and our behaviors are different. We're coming at it from different places, but we're still going to get there, right? So I would recommend, and I know that we offer this service, I would recommend that you really seriously consider understanding how you're going to behave. Regardless of what kind of professional you're going to be, it's important that you know you. One last analogy. Anybody been a lifeguard? Raise your thumb up if you've ever been a lifeguard. Yeah, Terry Lynn was a lifeguard. And the last thing that you're told to do as a lifeguard is to actually go into the water. Do everything you can to not go into the water. Why is that? Because you have no leverage when you go into the water, and rescuing somebody is more taxing and more difficult, right? You can't lift someone very well when you don't have good leverage, right? So what we hope you'll do is work on yourselves and really consider how you're going to behave, so that you can lift others and make real contributions. We talked yesterday, I had a panel discussion with 4 professionals, one of which was from Walt Disney. And she said, when we asked them what they were looking for in new employees, by the way, they're all hiring. By the way, I post 30 jobs on my LinkedIn page every week. There's still opportunity out there, and we need you, but we need your best you. And what Disney said was, we need young people who are respectful, who are kind, and who are willing to share their voice. That's who we need. And with that, I'll turn it back to Alexandra. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bruce. So one question that we have for you in regards to the DISC assessments is, what type of evaluations can students in oversaturated and outmoded career paths do in order to help them find a job?
Yeah, well, I think DISC is certainly one. But there are other evaluations that, you know, I personally, people ask me this all the time. I personally would think very hard about what you think you're passionate about, but recognize that when you're 25 years old, you may not know what your real life passion is. No offense to anybody. Sometimes you do know. But to me, it came when I was 45 years old. And having worked at things I liked, and worked at things I was really good at, you know, but I finally found my passion when I was 45. And one of the things that helped me was to really reevaluate what was important to me and how I was behaving, and things like DISC that helped me understand why other people might be behaving the way they behave. I love DISC. I also love something called Predictive Index, which is a quick one-pager that talks about how you think you're going to behave and how people think you're going to behave, and gives you some ideas that way. At the end of the day, I also think that some personal time, taking some quiet time, prayerful, maybe even if I could say that, time that allows you to have a little introspection is all healthy and all good.
Thank you. I mean, personally, I've spent this month off from school trying to evaluate what I want to do with my life. And every day I come across a new job post or a new master's program is thrown at me. And I'm like, oh my God, I want to do this. I want to do that. So I think taking your advice and like thinking and not rushing to go into my next step is probably my best bet right now. And I'm sure for most people out there as well. So I think we all need to self-reflect and self-evaluate in order to make sure that we're doing something that we really like to do.
Yeah, I think that's really wise. And by the way, you can do anything you want. Having associated myself with you for a while, I'm sure that whatever you choose, you'll be successful at.
Thank you.
But I think it is important that you choose. And I think sometimes what ends up happening is young people get into a job and somebody comes to them and says, you know, you'd be really good if you took this next step in this job. And then the next step, and then they get to a point after 2 or 3 steps where no one's coming to them and saying, hey, here's your next thing. And so we folks, we have to own it. We have to decide. We decide, right? And anyway, thank you so much for including me today. It's always good to see your smiling faces.
Thank you for being here, Bruce. Next, we're going to speak to Nicole from Your Instructional Design. She's going to be telling us about their course development. So I'm just going to give a brief background on Nicole. Nicole Papaioannou Lugara is an instructional design consultant and the owner of Your Instructional Design, as well as its related learning network, the Upskill Experience. She delivers performance-focused workplace learning solutions to clients ranging from global enterprise organizations to solo entrepreneurs in a wide variety of industries. She also provides professional development for developing instructional designers. In her line of work, Nicole has been responsible for hiring team members and helping clients to hire and train new employees. Through these experiences, she's developed the skills to craft a professional presence that attracts the right kind of attentions. Thank you for being with us, Nicole.
Thank you. It's really a pleasure to be here. And this is such a great group. It's such an honor to be included among all of you wonderful people. And so I think once you've taken all of Bruce's advice, maybe this is like the next step. Like once you know what you want to do, that's sort of what I'm going to focus on today. As Alexandra said, I come to, sort of the hiring world through the lens of learning and training. And so I'm just going to show you guys a few slides, if you don't mind, that I think will help make my point in true fashion of a learning designer. So my organization, Your Instructional Designer, is not just, a course production mill, because I think that's what people think training means sometimes, but we really do have 4 arms, which is the consulting, helping people figure out what kind of learning solutions they need, when learning is a solution, when it's not a solution, developing the content, training new instructional designers, and doing some coaching for them as well. And through this, I've had the pleasure of reading many, many resumes for hiring different folks for my own organization, for my previous employer, and also for some of my clients, because sometimes the solution is you don't need training, you need another person on the job. And so I really want to focus on just 3 tips. So once you have a good idea of sort of what you want this new you to look like, these are the 3 things that I think will push you to the next level. And so the first one is to learn the language. I can't tell you how many times I get a really great, well-written, clean resume that just speaks to a whole other industry. For me, I get a lot of teaching resumes. So they're using language like lesson plan or, learning objectives. And really, I need them to speak to business goals. And to me, that tells me they haven't really read my job description, or maybe they're not ready to use the language of the field. So I think once you're ready to go out on that job market, you need to learn that language. You can go on websites and start looking at organizations in your field to see what they're talking about. You can start following people in your field to see what kind of language they're using on their LinkedIn profiles. Mostly you want to figure out what the key jargon is and what their pain points are, because if you can solve their pain points, that's how you get the job. So that's the first tip. The second one is to curate your web presence. And I know Terry Lynn has talked about how important LinkedIn is. And so I'm going to say that's very true. But when I branched from college into, well, I went on to, 2 more programs. But when I made the transition into my professional career, I didn't necessarily want people to look back and see that like I was the captain of the equestrian team. I wanted them to see that I was a professional. I wanted them to get a feel for my writing style and my professional qualifications. And so I went online and I started making web profiles on basically every social media that I could, so that when I was being looked up, that was what they would find. And that's been really important because there are different assets and facets to myself, and there are to you as well, I'm sure. Maybe, on the weekend, maybe you're a ballroom dancer or you're a lacrosse player, but that's not the first thing you want the person at the bank to learn about you. And so the more you can curate your web presence and figure out what you want your personal professional brand to be, the more likely that's what they're going to see. And that can help you get to the next level, because that's how they're going to think about you as a professional. And if you start with nothing else, LinkedIn is definitely the way to go, but I would say go and secure your name as a domain name. So get your www.nicolepapiano.com, or if you have a brand in mind for yourself, go secure that now. That's also a really great way to start curating your web presence, so that when people ask about you, you can give them these resources. And then my last one is to get feedback. So I think that practice makes progress is pretty common, but the thing that people forget is that you can keep practicing, but if you never get any feedback, then you don't actually know how you're doing. And so it's really important that you don't just practice in a bubble, whether you're writing a resume or you're practicing your interview questions, or even just working through solutions, right? You're new to a job and you're just starting out. You want to make sure you get feedback. So I recommend doing one of 3 things. You can ask a trusted friend or advisor. Maybe it's like Chris or Alexander or Andy over here. They're going to help you out. You can ask somebody on LinkedIn who is in your field. Just take the jump. You'd be surprised how many people are willing to help out. Or if you feel really uncomfortable just asking people to be kind with their time, you can hire a coach or somebody who does consulting, and they will help you and walk you through. And why it's so powerful is that it's going to help you think on your feet, so that you're prepared when you get questions that you hadn't prepared to answer, but also so you can see what's going on in the mind of other people. Maybe there's blind spots you haven't thought about. Maybe there's questions you aren't prepared to answer. Well, talking to these 3 people or one of these 3 types of people can help you get to that next stage and be really prepared, and also just push you to be a little bit better than you would have been if you were just operating in a bubble. So those are the big 3, and you can do those now, right? If you're job searching for an online job because it's COVID, these are all things you can do regardless of if you're going for an in-person job or a remote job. I think they're really important. And then the last thing I'm going to bring up is something that you need to be doing, even though they tell you social distancing is a problem. So even though we're supposed to be social distancing, and I highly advocate for, keeping your physical distance from people, you should still be socializing. You should still be networking. Don't be afraid to reach out to people. Don't be afraid to pick up your phone and call someone. Don't be afraid to meet someone new in a Facebook community group and start conversations there. The opportunities that you will find 9 times out of 10 are not going to come from just putting your resume on someone's desk. They're going to come from the conversations you have, because people like to work with people they know. So make sure, even if you can't physically be around people, you can't go to conferences, you can't go to job fairs, that you're still putting yourself out there and being open to having those conversations and networking and just hearing people. It doesn't always have to be like, do you have a job for me? But you do want to carry on those conversations. easy things you can ask. If it's academic, you can ask people about their research. You can ask people about their pets, because that's always an easy one to start a conversation. Or you can just ask people point blank, I'm really interested in your field. What's one piece of advice you would give me? Or what's the one thing that your field really struggles with that you think would be amazing if someone could solve for them? So that's my quick and dirty. Those 4 things, if you do them, you're really going to set yourself up to get to that next level and hopefully to get that job that you really deserve. And if you want to connect with me, I'm just everywhere, so you can go find me.
Thank you so much, Nicole. Next we have, Next, we have Dr. John Kaloyerakis, who is the founder, CEO, and main trainer of JMK Anthropocentric Corporate Training and Development, which specializes in anthropocentric human resource development in both Greece and Cyprus. Since 1982, he has worked in a number of managerial positions for national and multinational companies in the UK, Middle East, Greece, and Cyprus. As a keynote speaker in various national and international conferences and a visiting professor to various British and Greek universities, he has given many lectures and seminars internationally, emphasizing the anthropocentric approach to sustainable corporate development. Since 1993, he has lectured regularly at the Hellenic Management Association on people skills, empowerment, motivation, and personal skills development. The programs offered through his organization cover many aspects of soft skill personal development, from leading with emotional intelligence to ethics and culture change. We welcome him today to tell us more about the goals of JMK and their upcoming event on February 20th, which will be conducted in Greek and is great for adults and children. So welcome, Yanni. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I have prepared this 8-minute presentation, which will be a little canned thing. There it is. But anyway, I'm so happy to be part of this wonderful group of people. So, my name is Yannis Kaloyerakis. I run JMK, as you've heard, jmk.gr, simple, easy. And very quickly, I will give you a brief overview of JMK, some career tips, and some tips on overcoming the COVID-related hurdles. And on Q&A, I would love to hear questions. Thank you. Okay, so I'm a naval architect and marine engineer, BSc, Master's, PhD from Strathclyde University in Scotland, visiting professors to various universities around the globe. And I've been doing that. I have my own company, JMK, as I said, that has 2 parts. One aimed at employees on customer service and all that. And the other is on middle and top management. I go by that most companies today are overmanaged and underled. Systems make things possible, people make things happen. I talk about it frequently on conferences, on the exhibitions, and I've been doing this in 4 continents for 39 years now, quite a huge clientele. And I'm a naval architect. Then I studied robotics, franchising, management, leadership, and that led me to entrepreneurship. And then I realized people needed training, but a little bit more than that, human resource development. So I developed my JMK Anthropocentric Human Resource Development. This is the first ever seminar I did in 7th of June, 82. And then in 19, I also did another seminar. My son said, Dad, you got this other way around. Anyway, I have received various awards because I've been around for many years on this job. And I don't want you to think I'm a nerd, but in 1982, I used to go to a bar and discotheque with a tie. I do a lot of photographic exhibitions. I like dancing. And 37 years later, I still do a lot of water skiing, snow skiing, sailing in the islands. And that's me. That was about me. I didn't know what to say. I thought it was a smaller group of people. And 3 pillars of coaching plus 1. I was trained in England by Sir John, and then I practiced this for 6 years. Then I moved on to SmithKline Beecham, where I did this for a number of years. I coached the whole company, taught them how to coach. And then on 3M, and there I trained all their representatives. Now, in coaching, we realized that something the people thought and the managers had another idea. Whenever there was a gap, you see there's a gap there, that called for coaching and mentoring sometimes. The plus one is that I now do my own coaching to companies, and I train other people how to do coaching and mentoring. So that I've been doing for the last 20 years. Now, it goes. Oh, it stopped before. Okay, yes. Some tips, some tips. Fine. Okay, 3 words. Get yourself known. The more people know of you, your capabilities, your achievements, your goals, your expertise, then the higher the probability that someone will get you an offer or will get to talk to you. Let's say you are at a conference, a Zoom seminar, a meeting. Raise your hand and ask a question. That's what I propose. But be careful. A question can make you or break you. So it has to be a good question. So people want to meet you afterwards. So more about that in a minute. Now, that is my first tip. My second tip is that passion and devotion, it actually shows. It can be seen, and I teach people how to discover it in other people. So why you do what you do, that's be prepared to ask the why you study this, why you do this. The why is paramount nowadays. Maybe you are familiar with Simone Sinek, the anthropologist. Simone Sinek told us that nowadays people buy not Martin Luther King said, I have a dream. He didn't say, I have a plan. He said, I have a dream. So anyway, people don't buy what you do. People buy why you do it. So this is the thing for the new millennium. You have to know your why you do this or that. Now, maybe Bruce is familiar with Covey, and on the 8th habit, he talked about ethos, pathos, logos. Logos is your expertise, but ethos, pathos to me is more important. And of course, I recommend The Element by Sir Ken Robinson. If you haven't read it, that's what helps you find your passion. Now, the third tip is that I recommend someone starts on a small company, family business, and then move on into a big corporation afterwards. And if someone says, oh, I see you have no experience in large corporation, well, you let them into this because you say, yes, of course, but I learned how to do many things at one time, and I bring you the passion of the small businesses, of the owner and all that. So distinguish yourself by saying how good you will be because you started small. Anyway, these are some of my tips. Very important. We talk about work-life balance, but now people move beyond work-life balance to work-life integration. Not because of COVID, it was happening anyway. People can work on first level, second level, 2 blocks away, 2 countries away. Now, as I promised, a little bit more on because of COVID, on get yourself known. It has been said, and I cannot stress it enough. LinkedIn, work on your LinkedIn profile. Now is the best time that you have time. Sometime you are at home, and as it has been suggested by Nicole, maybe your own blog or your own web page. I recommend to have a video CV of 1 or 2 minutes. Put up a video CV on your LinkedIn or your blog or wherever, so people can see you talk for a while. And of course, be aware, people copy paste your name and they put it on social media just to see, are you human? Are you really a good addition to their team? And work on your elevator speech. Now it's a perfect time because of this COVID thing to work on this. Go up and down a block of flats and work on it. Don't do it from room to room. I recommend to get professional advice for your LinkedIn. Like Ethel Angelatu is in Athens, but she works worldwide with people. She can help you, and people like that, experts to help you build your LinkedIn profile to perfection. Someone who's starting out in life needs that. Absolutely need that. Now, I didn't know that Bruce was going to talk about DISC, that I'm also trained on DISC. I teach DISC, but I recommend if you go to overview.co.uk, you will see a soft skill assessment tool. So I say, why don't you take this? See your skills, your soft skills. Maybe you want to send them to an employer or not. This is an amazing software that has an algorithm, a basic AI, but you can easily imagine. You play a game, it comes up with your soft skills assessment, how it's going to develop. this is good definitely to develop. So if you go to my webpage, my YouTube channel, there are a number of talks in some are in English, well, but the broken English, and some are in Greek with subtitles. I have 4 TEDx's. I'm working on my 5th now. So all of this is up on my YouTube and on my webpage if you are patient enough to look around and find. So I look forward to your questions. I didn't know, I thought that 8 minutes would describe me a little bit, who I am and what I do. Thank you for this opportunity and thank you for your time and attention. And I look forward to listen to your questions. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Yanni. That was great. I watched a couple of your videos actually, because I saw one that that made me feel like, oh, I'm gonna know where it is because I'm from Alexandroupolis. So I looked at your video and I learned a lot because I speak Greek fluently because a lot of his videos are in Greek, but you could put the subtitles like he said. And I really enjoyed, you're very enthusiastic as we saw through your presentation. And it makes the audience feel like they're a part of your whole conversation and they are excited to go out and take the next step and do good like you were saying, and to fix themselves and to self-reflect and self-evaluate. So thank you so much for that. And again, we tell everyone to go to his YouTube, which I will link. And yes, so moving on, we have.
All right, so now we're excited to welcome back Terry Lynn Smith to tell us about her company, Giraffes Consulting, and its mentoring services. Terry Lynn Smith is often called the employment whisperer. She helps people who are unemployed, bored in their career, and recent college graduates face their fears and find a position with purpose. After 30 years as a human resources executive, the company that she worked for merged with another, and she found herself laid off. It was at this time that she decided that coaching would be her next chapter. She believes that when change happens, you have to take control to be successful. She enrolled in the Georgetown University Leadership and Coaching Program and received an ICF certificate in coaching. Although she started as a life coach, she discovered that 90% of her clients were unemployed, so she narrowed her focus to career coaching. She is the founding president of Giraffes Consulting, where her clients are at all levels of professional development, including recent college graduates. To help college graduates be better prepared for their transition into the workforce, she volunteers as a leadership coach and mentor for Braven, a nonprofit organization whose focus is on preparing students for the transition into the workplace. Thank you for joining us today, Terry Lynn.
Thank you, Andy, for that wonderful introduction. I'm excited to be here today and to share some insights on how to successfully land the job you want. I also want to thank you, Andy, for being my moderator for my presentation. You want to ask the first question?
My pleasure. So our first question for you is, could you be kind enough to give us an overview of your organization?
Absolutely. I'm a career coach. My company's name is Giraffes Consulting. They do call me the employment whisperer. I help people who are unemployed, bored in their career and looking to reinvent themselves, and recent college graduates get moving, face their fears, and find a position with purpose, not just a job with a salary. I work with my clients to create successful job search campaigns. The first step is to develop the 4 basic tools needed. Those tools are a powerful resume and cover letter, compelling LinkedIn profile, an engaged network, and interviewing skills. Once my clients have these tools, we develop a detailed job search plan that includes goals, action steps, timelines, and evaluation. With a plan, my clients can compete in any job market. This process, however, requires me to wear several hats. Sometimes I'm a career coach. Then there are times I'm a life coach and accountability coach. And then sometimes I'm just the cheerleader. I know you must be wondering, why did I name my company Giraffes Consulting? It's the #1 question I get, but however, it does get a conversation started. I fell in love with the giraffes while on a trip to South Africa. When I think of giraffes, they make me smile and feel positive. Having been an HR executive and not a business person, I didn't realize that it helps if you name your company if the name of your company gives an indication of what your company does. However, as I continue to study the giraffe, I realized that they demonstrate the behaviors of success. They lean forward with confidence. They are flexible, and they have a treetop view. That is the hidden gift. Now my goal is to bring out the inner giraffe in all my clients. Finally, my company name fits. In my coaching practice, I discovered that college students and recent college graduates are struggling with the transition from college to the workforce, and I want to help prevent this struggle. Luckily, I was introduced to a director at Braven, the nonprofit organization that focuses on preparing students for transition into the workforce. They provide a 15-week college course designed to provide the skills necessary to bridge the transition into the workforce. I volunteer with Braven, as you heard, as a leadership coach and a mentor. It's amazing how much more you can accomplish when you're part of a team than as an individual. What I've learned at Braven, I can now share with my recent college graduate clients. Next question.
For your recent college graduate clients, what are your top 3 career path success tips to young professionals and transitioning professionals?
Yeah, it's a challenge to find your first professional position, but it's not impossible. It is my belief that with courage and a plan, you can accomplish anything. Hiring managers today are looking for 5 transferable skills. They are adaptability and flexibility, communication, critical thinking and problem solving, collaboration and team experience, and time management. Transferable skills are portable skills that are used across all industries. Ask yourself, what transferable skills do I have? What examples or experience do I have that demonstrate my successful use of these transferable skills? Think about the classes that you participated in during your college career. What roles were you responsible for? Think about the committees you served on and your capstone project or internships and fellowships that you did. What skills did you develop and use in these activities? You'll need to be able to give examples of your transferable skills during an interview and how your skills and abilities relate to the position. I recommend that you use the PAR formula for your responses. P, identify the problem. A, describe the action you took. And R, what were the results? Using the PAR formula, you can provide a concise and powerful example of what you have done, can do, and will do for the organization. The PAR statements you create should also be used in your resume and your cover letters. They help the hiring manager connect the dots between the duties and responsibilities of the position and your abilities. This will help identify you as a strong candidate. Job descriptions are a golden ticket for your job search. Based on the job description, you should edit and customize your resume and cover letter to highlight how your knowledge and experience relates to the position. The job description not only tells you about the company, the requirements for the position, it also lists the duties and responsibilities of the position. This information can provide insight into possible questions that you may be asked in an interview. After all, many interview questions are job duties put into the form of a question. Review all the job descriptions for the positions that you're interested in or have applied for. Are there skills or abilities that you need to acquire or strengthen that would make you a stronger candidate for the future? If so, identify the skill and look for online courses or certifications. That will add to your knowledge and experience. This action demonstrates your initiative, your interest in continuously learning, and your ability to take responsibility for your professional development. These are all qualities hiring managers appreciate and are looking for. Next question.
Thank you. Lastly, we'd like to ask you, what is your top tip on overcoming COVID-related career hurdles?
The dominance of the virtual interview is a result of COVID-19. Although you can see the interviewer, you lose many of the nonverbal cues that enrich the interview conversation. Your preparation for the interview is the same as it would be for an in-person interview, but with a few caveats. You need to create a video presence. Make sure your background is simple and not distracting. Eliminate interruptions. Now in New York City, that can be a bit of a problem or a challenge. The light should be coming from behind your computer, not from behind your head. Natural lighting is always the best. You should be in the middle of the screen and looking into the camera to make eye contact. Learn how to use the video platform you will be using before the interview. Practice your interviewing skills using the platform with friends. And give your friends the questions that you think you may be asked so that your practice time is a real experience and you can tailor your responses to be very concise and give you confidence to be excellent and excited about the interview coming up. You may also want to consider standing up for the interview. Psychologically, it's a more powerful position. Being on the video, they only see you from the shoulders up. And lastly, before the interview begins, create a plan with the interviewer on how to handle any interruptions with the internet. One last suggestion, before the interview, and come up and identify 5 points that you want to make in the interview. If the points are not covered in the interview, you can mention them at the end of the interview when the interviewer asks you, what else would you like to add? This gives you a chance to ensure that all of the information you wanted the interviewer to have about you and your abilities to do the job, so that you are sure that you left nothing unturned and that they really see that you as an ideal candidate. You will know that you are prepared for the interview when you become excited and that you can't wait for the interview to happen. Breathe. A few deep breaths will reduce your heart rate and your nerves and allows you to focus on the interview. Thank you for letting me share a few highlights. I hope you gained some useful information. Thanks, Andy.
Thanks so much for your insights, Terry Lynn. We appreciate you taking the time to share some very useful tips.
My pleasure.
Okay, so I'd like to invite Chris to say a few words.
Hi, everyone. All right. So I want to say, first of all, thank you to our 4 presenters and to sort of line up the takeaways from today, which are to use your resources to leverage yourself for success, which we learned from Bruce's presentation, to establish your presence and be open to feedback, which we learned from Nicole's presentation, to take the time to work with professionals and present your best self, with, of course, the focus on my favorite, ethos, logos, pathos from John, and also the PAR formula and the focus on overcoming the psychological hurdles. We don't really realize that there are psychological hurdles and not just like blocks in the workforce or in the job market, etc. We sometimes trip ourselves up with small things, which of course we get from Terry Lynn, who has joined us so many times, and we're always grateful for her feedback, as well as the feedback of our first-time speaker, John, and our returning speakers, Bruce and Nicole. Now, if there are questions for Philo for Thought generally does professional mentoring, what is mentoring? We do advisement. So what we do is we advise people on their academic path and the transition from their academic path to their career path. That's very important because a lot of people sort of have a gap. We used to have no career centers, and now that we do have career centers at most universities, there's still a few gaps in the services that they provide. And students also aren't trained along the way in each class to prepare for a job market, except with the exception of very few majors where that is the focus. You take specifically a class to learn how to make that transition. So we help with that transition, and we try to offer as much as possible everything for free. And if we can't do it for free, we try to minimize the cost as much as possible. Okay. And we have the support of such amazing mentors. Here you have our 4 guest speakers today, and they're 4 of over 50 people who we work with. We have strategic partnerships with Rus Advisors. Rus Advisors has offered us so many great assessment plans, including the DISC assessment for a lower cost for our members. We also have New Skills Academy courses that we're offering at 87% off the normal price. So you could take a certification program, whether you're in New York or the US or Canada, or whether you're in Europe. So they have a separate certification program, series of certification programs for personal development and professional development for our viewers who are based in Greece, in England, in Paris, etc., all over Europe. And the same for our colleagues and followers here in the US and Canada. What else do we do, Alexander? We do a lot. Maybe if you have other questions, I can, we have a newsletter that comes out monthly. We just transitioned, of course, to the new platform of WordPress. And we have actually our spring intern, Julius, is online. So he has been helping us with the transition this semester. And the person who created the page, Marino Dakis, is not able to be with us today. However, he moved the world by transitioning us to this new platform. So that's a big job. What else? We have also a partnership with New York Network Group. New York Network Group hosts different expos and events also for those who are specializing in real estate development. And the new one on board is the mission control productivity, which Alexandra and Andy will tell us more about. So I'll pass the microphone back to them.
Thank you, Chris. So the programs that the New Skills Academy offers, they offer a lot of, first of all, New Skills Academy is an online learning provider that offers a variety of courses across many disciplines, including personal and professional development, business, health, technology. I was on there the other day looking, and there was something about taking care of animals. And I was like, wow, this is very interesting. Even makeup or hair styling and just everything in between. So New Skills Academy or Staff Skills Training are a family-run training provider based in the UK. They started their business in 2013 with the hope to help upskill and train people through an easy-to-use platform. Again, the website is very straightforward. I'm going to link it below. And very easy to navigate. So what else there was? Sorry. Staff Skills Training believes that the training is an essential factor to overall success and growth of any business or individual's personal development. We are honored to have them as strategic partners, and they help us carry out our mission of empowering young professionals through their various courses. And like Chris said, they offer a lot of discounts to students. So I will share the 2 links to their different programs in the chat so that everyone can check them out. Additionally, the other program that we often work with is, the other organization we often work with is Mission Control Productivity. So that is an organization that offers various courses and workshops as well for professional, personal, and organizational enhancement. Mission Control's innovative approach to performance and productivity dramatically increases organizational performance and individual effectiveness while reducing stress and increasing work-life balance, which, like Yanni mentioned before, is essential, even though we're kind of like integrating it into regular life and we don't always see it so clearly anymore. Mission Control is all about impacting what the people in our organization are doing, resulting in taking the exact actions that will produce what's of critical importance. So with Mission Control's innovative productivity principles, tools, and practices, you and your team will generate unprecedented results and find yourselves creating new possibilities that did not exist before. Another resource that we use as well is WorkWise. It's fairly new, but WorkWise is an online learning platform that helps people approach work and life in more efficient ways for elevated performance, effectiveness, and productivity. It's an app, so again, we're all on our phones all the time, we're on our computers all the time, so for most of us, this is a great resource. The app experience revolves around empathy, practicality, and purpose to deliver an approachable, exciting, imaginative, and transformative experience that will help you in your future career. I will also link that information in the chat so that you could check out that app. And Andi will tell us a little bit more about Flex Jobs, which is also a organization that we work with that wasn't able to be live with us today, but they are great as well. Andi, take it away.
Jobs have been offering listings for full-time and part-time remote and hybrid job opportunities. So a short video that we'll play will tell you more about the company and its services. We'll also share a discount code for 30% off of their available services in the chat after the video. And additional information will also be posted into next month's newsletter.
Give me a second to share my screen. Sorry about that.
While we're waiting for you to get the screen set up, I just want to share that when you look onto our course offerings for New Skills Academy, it's not just the formal training and the formal courses that they offer for professional development. You could also pick up a hobby. So they teach languages and etc. And so it's nice to sort of take a time off from the things that you're required to do and just take a course in something you think you'll enjoy. They have a couple of things for personal development. If you want to pick up something like a better way to relax or meditate, they also have those personal development courses with the same 87% off. And I want to say a shout out to Paul from New Skills Academy because he didn't have to give us such a discount. And it's a blessing that he was able to connect with us and offer that level to our students and the job hunters who are young professionals at heart, and transitioning between jobs or between difficult COVID-related layoffs and situations. Okay, pick it up. You can take the class for $20 and maybe even a little bit less than that. Okay, and it really does help to distract yourself a little bit with something social and not just something that is work-related all the time. Okay, I will pass the mic back to Alexandra since the screen is up and running again. Perfect.
Okay.
But we're a whole lot more than that. We're a job search service that offers job seekers a better, safer.
Do you hear it or no? Okay, give me a second. How do I?
Easier and faster way to find remote and flexible jobs. If you're looking for a job that gives you flexibility, whether it's working remotely, having a flexible schedule, working part-time hours, or freelancing, FlexJobs gives you a leg up in your job search because every job on our site has flexibility. You don't have to waste time sifting through big job boards, scams, or too good to be true opportunities trying to find flexible jobs. FlexJobs' team of job researchers spends over 100 hours every day searching, screening, and posting flexible jobs, which saves you a ton of time and energy and frustration. But like I said, we're not just a job board. We not only save you time by researching and posting thousands of flexible jobs, our goal is also to help give you the best tools, resources, and support for your job search so you can quickly and safely find a job that better fits your life. As part of our services, FlexJobs members benefit from a safer search with no ads, scams, supposed business opportunities, commission-only jobs, or other low-quality listings. Over 170 skills tests for job seekers to assess themselves. Live exclusive webinars with hiring managers and career experts. Daily alert emails that match your job interests. Special deals on products and services for remote and flexible workers. One-on-one career coaching at a deep discount, and a dedicated client services team to help you make the most of FlexJobs. So, with everything the FlexJobs service has to offer, who should actually use it? The quick answer is anyone who wants a job with some kind of flexibility. We focus on career-oriented professional jobs that you want to put on your resume. With over 50 career categories and jobs ranging from entry-level to executive, we offer something for almost anyone. More specifically, FlexJobs is a fantastic resource for people interested in working from home some or all of the time, anyone looking for career-oriented jobs with part-time or flexible schedules, freelancers looking for more clients and projects, parents wanting to be more flexible for their kids and families, someone looking for a high-quality second job for supplemental income, people who live in rural areas who don't want to move to find a job, someone with a physical or mental health issue or their caregivers, retirees looking to stay professionally active and to earn income, and anyone else who would appreciate a job that better fits with their life. FlexJobs gets it. The traditional job search is broken, and we think we offer a much better alternative. Check it out for yourself. Use our advanced search to browse our listings today for free. And when you're ready to invest in a better remote and flexible job search experience and find a better way to work, use the offer code SAVE30 to save up to 30% on any FlexJob subscription.
Okay. And Andy has linked all of these resources that our representative and our friends at FlexJobs shared with us prior to the event today. So he put the link for the discount and some articles about finding work during the pandemic. These will also be linked in our newsletter that Chris mentioned before. So everything will be available to you. So now we will move on to our Q&A section.
So we'll open the floor for our Q&A. Unfortunately, Bruce had to head out, but we included a link to the DISC assessment that he touched upon while speaking. And so you can find that in the chat. So our first question today will be for John. John, could you please share a little more about the upcoming seminar you're hosting in February?
Yes, there are two, both addressed for parents and parents to be Nicole. So the first one is on 10th, and it helps parents gather momentum and courage to empower their kids to go through this difficult period. And the one on the 20th, it promotes sports general, sponsored by some sport clubs here in Greece, so that the first 2 hours are dedicated to parents, how to encourage their kids to go and pick up a sport, to learn discipline and all that. And the other 2 hours are for the kids. Then I'll go crazy like a kid myself and talk to kids why they should follow a sport. So these are two on the 10th and on the 20th. I'm going to send all the details to Chris, so Chris can share, and whoever wants can attend. It's for free. They're both free.
Yes, I want to add to what Yanni was saying. We actually posted the flyer and also the link so you can register if you like for the seminar. It's on our January website and January newsletter, signal me, and I will repeat it again on the February newsletter, which will come out in another week. Also, Yanni, I must introduce you to Maria Zaloni, who is your biggest fan, biggest
Maria.
fan. You don't have a fan like this anywhere else. She's ours. I'll tell you why. If you remember in 2016, I went to Greece and it was a life-changing experience for me, not just for being in Greece for the first time in my adult life, but also for meeting you. And so when I came back, I had the big DVD collection that you had sent me. And first person I went to was Maria, because she also had a job where she was organizing and coordinating so many different events, not just locally, but also the Greek American Greek Independence Day Parade, which of course we are going to be celebrating in 2021, 200 years of independence. That's a big deal. You know, that's remarkable. And so I'm blessed to be able to introduce you exactly the year of the 200th anniversary, because she's the one here who really does so much to help make that parade happen and make people connect with each other, etc. And she's referred people to your DVD collection. So you guys need to know each other.
Thank you, Maria.
All right, Signome, I detracted from the question answer. Please continue, guys.
Thank you, John, for speaking about your upcoming seminar. I look forward to attending myself. Our next question is directed to Nicole, and that would be, could you please give us the steps on how someone can secure their domain name?
Sure. So step one, your domain name is that nice little www.blah.com or .net, or whatever you choose that tag to be. And it's really easy for me. I just use GoDaddy. There are other resources where you can purchase your domain name, but for me, that's where I went. If you Google, you'll find other alternatives. And so you just pick one, you put in what you want your string to be, and it'll tell you if that name is taken or not. Luckily for Greeks, our names are usually pretty unusual, and so they're not often taken. It's actually the reason why I didn't put NicolePapiano.com as my name when I first started freelancing, because I didn't think anyone would be able to find me. And that's how your instructional designer brand was born. But it really is that simple. You're just going to go put it in the little search bar, and it'll tell you if it's available, and then it'll tell you how much it costs per year. Usually for something that's not, something super popular, it'll be like $13-20 a year to own that domain name, which is the domain name. Again, it's like your address, right? If the internet is a neighborhood, it's just your address in the interwebs.
Thanks for going over that with us, Nicole. We also have one more question for you,
Sure.
and that would be, how do you think instructional design inspires student leaders?
Oh, that's a great question. So I'll start with a caveat, which is that I do instructional design for corporate clients and almost never for academic subject matter. And so I'm just going to blend what I know about being a professor, because that was a past life, with my work in instructional design. But when you create a meaningful learning experience, it can help someone move from where they are to a whole nother level. And I think that's why instructional design is really powerful and special for students. It goes beyond, if you have a really amazing professor, that can be very life-changing for you, right? But in this digital age, it's not always possible to have that one amazing person in a room. You might need different kinds of learning. You might need a knowledge base, or you might need an infographic, or you might need an online course that's totally self-paced. And you want to make sure there's someone who's creating as wonderful of an experience as that amazing professor. So that's kind of the part one. And the other part two is that everyone who is an expert is not necessarily an expert in teaching. And so being able to help people who have amazing knowledge and skills that they can share with the world and help to make it a better place, and take that and translate it into things that are learnable so that other people can access that knowledge, that's a really powerful skill. And, that's why I love doing what I do.
Those are all really great points. Thank you.
Are we allowed to clap?
Yes. Round of applause for all of you. One last question for Terry. As a lot of young professionals, people like me and Andy, who are now moving on to the next step of either grad school or looking for work, how do you suggest young professionals stay calm and not become so stressed with all the job resources, what's the word? The career outlets, all these like LinkedIn or Indeed, Glassdoor, all these websites that are for job searches? How do you suggest they don't get overwhelmed by everything that they're finding, and just take it one step at a time and look into what they actually want to do?
Absolutely. I think that, there's a period of time where you can explore and be familiar with all those different attributes and resources that you have. And then as you feel more comfortable, this is when you really need to create a plan of action. And when you have a plan of action, it lists the next steps you're going to take. So you don't have all this extra, fluff around you. You really have a planned approach to what you're doing. So if you go into what I always like people to do when they're in a job search is think about how many hours a week do they have that they're going to spend on the job search. And the next thing is there are 3 things that you really want to look at. The one category is what jobs are looking for jobs and actually applying. 2 is how you're going to spend your time networking and being more available. We heard a lot today about the value of networking. And quite frankly, 70% of jobs are gained through networking. And then you want to decide how you want to explore other opportunities, other companies. So I usually break it down, spending 30% of your time looking and applying for jobs, 60% of your time networking, meeting new people, building a relationship, not always asking about a job, and then 10% discovering new companies that may be out there, new opportunities. So when you have that kind of structure and you decide I have, 20 hours a week that I am spending in my job search, then you divide those up, put it into a daily perspective, and you'll have a plan that you're following. So that 30, 60, 10 really helps guide you on how you're going to spend your day. And when you're job searching, make an appointment with yourself that nothing gets in the way of your appointment to do your job search approach. Because too many times we allow other things to get in. We wouldn't cancel an appointment with another person or a client. So don't cancel yourself.
Thank you for that. So I just want to thank everyone overall for being with us today, for giving us so much information. We are going to send out all the links that we shared in the chat in our newsletter so that you have all the information that was shared and is available out there. We also want to remind you that Fuel for Thought offers LinkedIn and resume setup for very low cost to students and job hunters in North America and in Europe. So not just for English speakers, for Greek speakers too, or I think we work with people in England as well. We hope that you'll join us for our next seminar in March, which will highlight several career paths and how to go about applying to those specific graduate programs or learning more about the backgrounds of those careers. We will also be showcasing a video in February that will discuss the common pitfalls of young professionals and how to overcome them. Another announcement that we have today is our friends at the Hellenic American Chamber are hosting a networking event tonight at 7. So like we just learned about all these tips for networking, maybe we could go put them to use tonight. I will put the link for that in the chat. And as always, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us at p4tinfo at gmail.com, and we can direct you to any of the speakers that were with us today, or anyone that you see on our Snap page, on our mentors page, and you can build your relationship with them from there. So I thank you all for being with us today, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank you so much to all our guest speakers and to Alexandra and to Andy. I thank you so much for participating in this. I thank everyone who's been attending, and also in advance those who are going to be viewing this via YouTube. I just want to share one more common point that came across today, not just the talks, but also the questions, is that we're constantly called upon to work on our core, not the core that you work on when you go to the gym, you know, like your soul. All right. This concept of the Aristotelian ethos logos pathos, it's deeper than just working on your job or just working on your physical attributes. You're working on something deeper, the thing that makes you move forward. You want to move forward, and we're here to help you. That's where really mentoring comes in very handy. We're here to be friends to you and guide you. It's not something that we do because of money or any of these other things, clearly. So I do invite you all to join us, join our friends at the HACC, get to meet some new people, you know, let your hair down. Mine is already down, but you know, just relax a little bit, enjoy, and welcome the new year with some new friends. All right. If you have any other questions, yes, please definitely email us p4tinfo@gmail.com. Thank you all so much. Have a great rest of the day.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Andy, for your help. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Stay safe, everyone.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Bye-bye.